Hey everybody, it's another day of quarantine in our new reality here in Richmond, Virginia. Here is Tallulah. She is building. She's a builder. She's a block builder back there, so she's going to be working hard. So, like I said yesterday, while we're all sitting here on quarantine, we might as well kind of try to learn some things and, get ready for, whatever comes our way after this. I know a lot of us aren't working or there's not a lot of work to do, so being bored is kind of a big part of it. So I'll make a video and hopefully you find it educational. So yesterday I talked about the 5 styles of creative financing and what creative financing actually is. Just to go back over what is creative financing is acquiring property without a bank or cash. So it doesn't involve your credit, and it doesn't involve your credit, and it doesn't involve your pocketbook for the most part. Some of the ways will require closing costs, and some won't. And today I'm going to talk to you about actually the one that I've used the most throughout my entire real estate career, which has been 20 years. And throughout that time, I've found this to be the most effective way. Everybody's the most comfortable. Everybody wins, and it costs zero. So it's lease purchase. When we do a lease purchase, basically what we're doing is we are acquiring a property. We're not actually transferring title, but we're transferring the rights and responsibilities of ownership to ourselves. So why would somebody do that? Who does it work for? How do we make money off of it? All those things I'll answer. Why would somebody do that is the first thing. Like, why would a seller want to do that? A seller would want to do that because they like the idea of having a residual income. They like the idea of somebody paying a payment each month. They don't like the idea of having to chase their rents. They don't like the idea of somebody moving and having vacancy. They don't like the idea of a tenant potentially like tearing their house up. They don't like the idea of maintenance and repairs. They don't like the idea of insurance and taxes. These are all things that you can cover. Taxes and insurance are often rolled into the mortgage, but sometimes they're not. And when they're not, that becomes your responsibility as this person, as the lease purchaser. So now why would you want to do it? You would want to do it because it gives you all the rights and responsibilities of the owner, which also means it gives you all of the equitable income streams of the owner. So you're then able to rent it out, do Airbnb, you can do a crash pad, you can do, you can sell it, renovate and sell it. My favorite exit strategy though is actually to do a lease purchase on your lease purchase. So with this, you then are receiving the financial benefits and also not having the day-to-day headaches of being a landlord. So the way that I usually do that is you acquire the property, right? And you've already worked out with the seller that this works for them. They want that. They want to have that residual income coming in, and they don't want to deal with a standard tenant. Also with that, another type of person that might want to do this as well, just so that you know, is somebody that doesn't have equity in their property and probably will not have equity in their property for several years. This is another opportunity where they can't sell it, they need to move or whatever. They cannot sell the property and they want that opportunity. So sorry to backtrack a little bit on that. So anyway, you've secured your home, you've talked to your person, everybody agrees. You agree on the price of the house, you agree on the monthly payment with the house, you agree on how much of your payment gets applied towards the final price, and ultimately now you're ready to move forward. So you then are going to bring in your lease purchase buyer. With your lease purchase buyer, you're going to ask for, or you're going to require between $5,000 and 5% down on the price of a lease purchase. You'll go higher, obviously, for a home that you're actually going to finance. They're going to take title. but typically for a lease purchase, it's between 5,000 and 5%. I've gone up to 10% in certain situations, but usually not. So you're going to figure that out. You're going to go ahead and make sure that you're making a monthly income on their payment. You're also going to make sure that when they make a payment each month, the amount you credit them isn't more than the amount that you're actually getting credited. Sometimes we work on a PITI with our own mortgage or our own contract, and then we might work on a set fee with them or vice versa. So you want to make sure that you don't shoot yourself in the foot with that. We'll go into more details on all those things in another video. So how do you find your seller on these? A big way I have found my seller is I have looked for them primarily in Craigslist, Facebook, things like that. These are people who are renting their homes out or selling their homes, especially if they have both. They have it for sale or for rent. That's a great indication that they're going to be interested in moving forward with you. But she's so cute back there. All right, but as we're so if somebody is selling their home or renting their home, you just ask them, hey, are you interested? If they're selling, you ask if they're interested in renting. If they're renting, you ask them, are they interested in taking terms? I'm sorry, if they're renting, you ask them if they're interested in selling. If they're selling, you ask them, are they interested in negotiating a sale over with terms, like over a period of time. So that's one way. I've also found that the for sale by owner sites are good. A lot of times they haven't enacted a realtor because they don't have the funding. Like they don't have enough equity for that. And that's okay for what you're trying to do. You really need the difference to be in what the market supports for rent and what the payment is. So if the payment is $1,000 and the market rent for a house like that is $1,200, you're in a position to make $200. So that's really what you're going to look for versus equity, which is different from what you look for when you're looking for a flip or pretty much any other type of purchase with the exception of the creative finance purchases. So anyway, once you've found that, once you've found the property, you then of course just look for your seller or look for your buyer. And when you look for your buyer is going to be typically a person who maybe is self-employed and doesn't have, hasn't claimed as much on their taxes as they'd like, or a person who maybe, took some type of financial hit, like I think we're all going to do, or a lot of people are going to do in the near future. So your credit isn't 100% where it should be. This could be like a medical situation, bankruptcy, from, divorce or losing your job, things like that. I would not recommend a person who, chronically doesn't make payments and has a lot of evictions or has, things like that. It would be situational. You can determine that for yourself, but that would not be my recommendation. And they want the opportunity to own a home, and you're giving them that path. So what you're saying is, hey, look, we'll work out an arrangement. You'll make your monthly payments, and a part of it gets credited towards your rent. You're going to put this much down up front. That gets credited towards your house, your purchase price as well. And then ultimately, in the end, usually between 2 and 5 years, just depending, between 2 and 5 years, it's time for them to close the house, time for them to buy it and cash out. And the time frame depends on the equity that is available in the home. So anyway, I hope that was helpful and educational and informative. And everybody stay safe and enjoy your social distancing parties and binge watching Netflix and all the fun things that we've been doing. And I hope to talk to you again tomorrow.